When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube. So, we're back on the Grease Goblins channel. Hope you guys liked the little intro I did at the beginning. Just trying some new things out. Thought I would put an intro on the beginning of this. Also, this is another video that was suggested by the comments. So, if you would like to have, your name be in a video, or you just want me to talk about a certain character, let me down in the comments. And subscribe and like. We do Song of Ice and Fire content every Wednesday and Friday at 7 p.m. US Central Time. And let's get into the video. So today's video, we're going to be talking about Varys. What's Varys doing? He does a lot of interesting things, and from the outside, it can seem very random. Okay? He talks about, having peace and stuff and just having a good kingdom for the people, but then does the complete opposite, where he undermines kings and stuff like that actually are having good rule or are in that trajectory. So Varys is a weird character, but I think to fully explain Varys, you kind of have to go back. So Varys is born in Lys. He is basically a slave. He's an orphan. And he's basically, I guess, a slave for some mummers, or it's basically kind of like a circus type deal in nowadays standards. He eventually goes to Myr, where he is basically bought by a particular guy who offers these mummers a lot of money, and they take Varys, or I guess his owners give him to the guy. The guy then gives him a potion where he can't move or anything, but it like dulls his senses and stuff, but he still knows what's going on. So basically this guy cuts off his manhood, throws it in the fire as a blood ritual, and then says, Varys, have fun, and then tosses him out to die. So Varys basically, after this, vows to live, and he begs, sells his body, and this is where we start seeing him thieve. So he starts thieving. He becomes one of the best thieves in Myr, till he's pushed out and forced to go to Pentos. So in Pentos, he meets Illyrio. If you don't know who Illyrio is, that is the character we see at the beginning of a Game of Thrones, where he's basically housing Daenerys and Viserys, as well as he meets Tyrion after Tyrion escapes King's Landing. So these two become friends. They start a partnership where basically Varys would steal things, and Illyrio would go to the original master of the stuff Varys stole and would sell it back. So they made a lot of money off of this, and eventually the two get rich. Varys starts to kind of see the importance and value of information, and starts building his spy network. They get so good at this that King Aerys, or the Mad King, hears about it, says, Varys, you come on over. I'm going to make you spy master. He becomes spy master. And this is where it gets confusing. So Varys continuously says he's doing for the good of the realm. He's saying, I want the people to do well. Well, his first big decision, okay, is he informs on Rhaegar that they were doing the tourney. It was kind of a front, because really what Rhaegar was doing, he was going to get all the lords and ladies and stuff together, and he was going to plot to overthrow pretty much his father, because his father was mad. Varys informs on this to King Aerys, and King Aerys goes, okay, I'm going to go to this tournament, and I'm going to screw up his entire plan, which is what happens. We see this multiple times. I'm going to get to it when we start going through the story more, but King Aerys does that. Eventually, King Aerys is defeated, and the Targaryens are overthrown. Varys does say, though, to not open his gates to Tywin while Pycelle says to open them. I talked about that a little bit in the last live stream I did, which was the Roberts like rebellion and all that stuff. You guys want to check that out? I will have a link in the description. And we skip to basically the events of the main story. So we get to a Game of Thrones. The whole time, Varys is trying to plot to overthrow the Baratheons. Which, again, for the good of the people, makes no sense. The people were doing well. This was a golden age of peace and prosperity. Now, for the kingdom, or the King's Landing, and, you know, all that, they were 6 million in debt. That was because of Littlefinger. But, again, we are in a peaceful state. Varys, again, trying to start things, trying to destabilize. And eventually, Ned dies. All this. And we skip to the next major thing that happens. So Varys basically helps Tyrion get freed. And then also plants a coin that makes Cersei believe that the Tyrells were somehow involved in Tyrion escaping. Again, trying to push apart the Tyrells and the Lannisters, which is successful, as we see in the books. Once that starts to not work, Kevin Lannister starts to take over and starts actually bringing peace back to the realm, Varys shoots him. And kills Pycelle as well. With a crossbow like Tyrion kills Tywin with. And even Varys himself admits that Kevin is doing a good job. That he's doing a great job of bringing the Seven Kingdoms back together under Tommen's rule. And still kills him. Destabilizing, again, the rule of a king. So this is, if you haven't been counting, 3 kings that Varys more or less screwed over. Because Rhaegar could have been a king if it wasn't for Varys. And this is a predictions and theories video, as well as a backstory video. So here's where I'm going to get into where I think Varys is plotting and what his whole character revolves around. In my opinion, his whole character revolves around Aegon. So Aegon, if you don't know, is the first son of Rhaegar. Or I guess in the books, he's the only confirmed son of Rhaegar. He was apparently killed at King's Landing, in the sack of King's Landing. But from Varys, what he says, he swapped the kids. So that was just a peasant child. Well, it makes a lot of sense if Aegon was a Blackfire. It makes a lot more sense because they've been training him and Illyrio, when I say that, been training him to be the best king possible. And pampering him and giving him gifts and doing all this stuff for him. That doesn't happen for Viserys. Doesn't happen for Daenerys. They're both Targaryens. But they go for Aegon. Now, Aegon would be the rightful ruler. But it's just very odd that it's just specifically Aegon that's getting all this special treatment. And we even kind of see evidence and little hints that Aegon could be a Blackfire on the female line. And what I think me and a lot of people in the community believe, this goes back to one of my Aegon videos that I did, that Aegon is a Blackfire. That his mother was married to Illyrio, and Illyrio kind of vowed to get Aegon on the throne. It just makes so much sense why the Golden Company would follow Aegon. Just blindly. Because he's a Blackfire. And they've always supported Blackfires and stuff. I know the whole thing is like, oh, they just want to go home. That's true. But they could have done that with Daenerys as well. It just makes so much sense to me why the Golden Company would support him. All this, it makes so much sense. And then we're also looking at it from the point of, if they were training up Aegon, why were they supporting Viserys and Daenerys? Why? If the whole plan was to get Aegon on the throne, why would Viserys and Daenerys be part of it? So what I believe happened was that Viserys was kind of like a Trojan horse, where he was kind of the one that was going to go in first and just kind of destabilize it. Just destabilize Westeros with the Dothraki and start a war and do all this stuff. And then Aegon would come in and look like a hero. Look like, you know, a great guy with coming back with the Golden Company and fixing the kingdom's problems and all this. That is what I think the original plan was. Now, it goes south. Viserys, being a crazy bastard, dies because he's a crazy bastard. Daenerys takes over. Khal Drogo also dies. So Daenerys gains power. So logically, they go, okay, let's see if we can get Aegon and Daenerys to go together. Again, this plan fails as well. It's very fitting to me that I feel like Varys' plan and Illyrio's plan is just going to fail. I do think Aegon will sit the Iron Throne, but I don't think he'll sit it for long. Daenerys, if she gets into a war with Aegon, which I think will happen, and I think it's inevitable at some point, that one of them will turn on the other, I think Aegon will lose. There's no way. With 3 dragons, maybe even say she has 2. Or 1. She will win. And the really funny part is, where do I think Varys, if he lives? I don't think he will live, by the way. I think he will be burned by the dragon, like how they did in the show, but it'll be different. It won't be, it'll be, yes, treason, but I think it's gonna be because Daenerys kind of puts all these pieces together. That Varys was never on her side to begin with. Varys doesn't care about her. That Varys cares about Aegon. And once all this Blackfire stuff comes out, I think she'll understand that, because Varys is the one that's starting this whole thing that Aegon's a real Targaryen, and if it comes out he's not, you know exactly who to point that finger to. So I think Varys will die probably by Dragonfire execution. Again, kind of how it was in the show. I just think it'll be done a lot better, hopefully anyway. I think Varys is a very intriguing character in and of its own right. But yeah, let me know what you guys think will happen with Varys. He's a very cool character, and I think he's very intriguing. Him and Littlefinger, the stuff they added in the show that wasn't in the books was fantastic. But I just don't think Varys' plan's gonna work, personally. But yeah. So if you guys have a character you guys would like me to talk about, or a theory you guys would like to talk to me, or you want me to talk about, let me know, and I will try to get it done as soon as possible. Friday we're gonna be doing a Rickon video, talking about kind of the fate of Rickon and that whole plot line. That was another video that was asked about in the comments. I also, next week, will be doing a Littlefinger video. The same person that wanted me to do this video also wanted me to do a Littlefinger one. I didn't want to do both of, like, the big spy people in 1 week. So I thought I would spread them out. I'll do Littlefinger next week on Wednesday. But if you guys want to see anything from Friday, it'll be there. Also, tomorrow, I'm going to have a special video up for you guys talking about George R. R. Martin and if he will finish the books and a lot of just kind of that stuff. But yeah, I will see you guys in the tomorrow. I was going to say next video, but tomorrow at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time. And peace. Thank you guys for watching.